back to my channel. If you guys are new, I'm Katelynn. I'm doing a long overdue video today and I'm going to take you guys with me to meal prep. I want to show you guys fun, exciting recipes that don't suck because I'm such a foodie and I can't eat the same thing too many times over and over. I don't really like to reheat specific things and I like my food to be really enjoyable. I also like to have colorful meals, balanced meals, and today I'm going to focus on having gluten-free and dairy-free meals just because that's personally what I want to have for the week. And of course you can add things, take things away in this video. It's not to give nutrition advice, just to give fun recipes. So that's what today's video is. I'm actually going to head to the grocery store. I'll start with a grocery haul and then I'm going to show you guys every single recipe. I'm going to do breakfast options, lunch options, and dinner options. And I'm also cooking for me and Hunter. So it's a 2-person meal prep. That's why I can kind of do more recipes throughout the week. So I'm not eating the same things over and over and over and still make it make sense with the grocery store and stuff. So that's today's video. Before we do get into it though, I want to give a huge shout out to Caraway Home. They're sponsoring today's video, and if you've been on my channel for a while, you know that I love Caraway. Not only am I very into aesthetics, but I really love to cook. These are the pots and pans that I have from Caraway. I have the entire set. Not only are they obviously beautiful and I keep them out so they double as decor, but they're actually a company that supports wellness, which is obviously a huge part of my life as well. These pans are non-toxic, which means when I cook, none of the chemicals or weird things are leaching into the food that I'm cooking, which is super important to me. They're also non-stick, so they're really easy to cook on. I don't have to add a bunch of oil if I don't want to. I don't have to worry about washing them. They're super easy to wash. Can't say enough about these. They have so many different colorways. Obviously I went with the white with the gold, and if I was a pan, this would be me. They're so perfect, and they actually gave me a code for you guys to use, so if you guys are interested, you can check out their website and get anything on their website for 10% off. They have meal prep containers that I'm dying to have. They have different pans, different pots, and like I said, so many colors to choose from. So if you guys want to check them out, my code is Katelynn, and you can go to carawayhome.com/Katelynn and you'll get the 10% off. So definitely run. I will link all of my favorites down below in the description with my code so you guys know how to spell Katelynn. And yeah, I just want to give a quick thank you to Caraway before starting this video. I will be using them throughout the video so you guys will be able to see them in action. Okay, so the first thing that I always do before I actually meal prep is make a list. If I go to the grocery store and just kind of pick up things that I think I need, I will always forget something, and it's just gonna add to that feeling of being frustrated that I'm trying to avoid with this. So I actually used this market list that I got off of Amazon. I'll link it for you guys. It's really nice because you can write the recipes on the side what you're gonna make, and then you can actually go in and write all of the groceries that you need. I'll usually write everything down, then I'll take this to my fridge and my pantry and I'll X off everything that I already have, which makes it really easy, and it'll be good today because I'll show you guys everything that you need for the recipes if you want to remake them. Personally, if I'm meal prepping for the entire week, I would prefer to meal prep twice. That way I'm not doing everything in one day, and also I don't think that food tastes as good when it's heated up for 5 days straight. I prefer to only eat the same thing twice. Obviously, if that's not an option for you, you can always freeze things, or most of the time, most meats can last up to 5 days in the fridge. Okay, just finished the grocery list. I will also just write this out in the description because I feel like you can't really read my handwriting as best as I thought that you would be able to, but I put optional on things that won't fully change the recipe. But I'm gonna rip this off, take it with me to the grocery store, and then we'll get to meal prepping. Okay, the first meal prep we're doing today is banana protein waffles, and if you've been watching my channel for the past couple of years, you've probably seen me use this batter for so many different things. I've made these into pancakes, oatmeal bakes, and my favorite way to do it is in waffles because you can meal prep them and use the toaster the next day. I personally love when my waffles are toasted and crispy, so that's why I love this so much. I did a big portion of this batter just so that I had it throughout the entire week, but I did 2 ripe bananas, 2 tablespoons of chia seeds, 4 eggs, vanilla extract, and cinnamon, and then I did half oat flour, half almond flour, vanilla protein, and a full teaspoon of baking soda. You could also freeze these and they last so long in the freezer, but in the fridge they last up to 4 days and they honestly taste good just like you made them the first day. So this has been my favorite to run to after a workout. You can even have these as snacks throughout the day, which I've been doing, and I ended up putting them in a glass container, and then I also portioned out some maple syrup for the mornings that I'm either running out the door and just want to eat them in the car, or if I ever bring them to Hunter at his desk while he's working. It just makes it super easy. And then I chopped up some strawberries to put on top too. you can switch this up. It's really good with blueberries, chocolate chips. So that's my first meal prep, protein waffles. This is the only breakfast I'm gonna do meal prep wise because usually I like something sweet, and then I'll rotate between that and avocado toast. Moving on to the next meal prep, which is vegan freezable chili. The reason why I call this freezable is because it lasts so long in the freezer, and all you have to do is put it in a saucepan or let it sit overnight and defrost. Super easy, but I'm just gonna keep this in the fridge throughout the week, and it lasts up to 4 days. I did this vegan today, but you can actually add any type of meat. I've tried it with ground chicken, ground turkey, ground beef. You could do ground bison. I pretty much just put together all of my favorite beans. I did a white bean chili today, so I did white beans, Great Northern beans, and pinto beans. And then you can also use bone broth for the chicken broth. This is really just to add an extra layer of nutrients in there that's good for the gut. I threw in some frozen vegetables just to add some color to it. And then when I go to heat it up the next day, I really like adding something fresh on top. So I'll either do avocado, cilantro, lime. Sometimes it's even good with lettuce on top. But I think the key here is using the Siete spicy taco seasoning. It's just one of my favorite seasonings, and I feel like it adds such a good flavor to it, especially as all of these ingredients sit overnight. It honestly starts to taste better and better as I heat it up. So you guys have to try this one. It's probably my favorite meal prep, and same with Hunter's. Moving on, sticking with the spicy theme, I wanted to try a new recipe. I usually don't like shrimp at home, but this was such a good way to make shrimp. I tossed it all in a bowl and just added that same taco seasoning. And the reason I put it in a bowl was to evenly coat all of the taco seasoning, and then it made such a big difference when I transferred it into the pan. I just put some avocado oil, and the thing with this, you have to keep it on a lower heat so it doesn't burn, and you want to constantly be flipping them just to get them golden and crispy. And then as I was watching them on the stove, I was just chopping up the lettuce. I like to keep my lettuce separate from the rest of the meal prep because I feel like it gets really soggy. So I just have these smaller containers that I put them in. And then for Hunter's, I also added some cheese. I'm just avoiding cheese this week. I'm trying to see if that's something that's been hurting my stomach lately. But obviously, if dairy is fine in your stomach, then add the cheese here. You can also put some pico in here or guacamole just so it keeps a little bit better and separate. Also, again, to add some extra color, I put in some frozen veggies, and then when I plated it, I just put some brown rice, black beans, and then I'll eat these with pico and guac. This is another one of those recipes that honestly tastes like you made it exactly when you were eating it, even when it is leftovers, and I think that's because I add the fresh on top, so definitely try that out. Next, I prepped a dinner recipe, pretty much just a deconstructed taco, and then when it comes time for dinner, we'll make the tacos. I use ribeye steaks. These are grass-fed and grass-finished, and they were probably the best steaks I've ever had. They were so expensive, but honestly so worth it because this tasted restaurant quality. I keep saying that, but all of these recipes were honestly so good this week. I put some avocado oil in the pan with ginger and garlic. I just get the ginger and garlic cubes from Trader Joe's. They're in the frozen section. And I just cooked the steaks in there. I also cut the steaks. You don't have to do this, but I feel like when we cube them into small pieces, they cook so much faster and they get a little bit more crispy, which I like, but I still like the medium rare, so I only left them on the stove for probably 7 to 10 minutes. And then I was feeling fancy and I wanted to make a mango salsa to go on top of the tacos. I feel like adding the teriyaki sauce made me want something citrusy with it, so I just chopped up some mango and some red onion, put that in a bowl with some cilantro, and topped it with lime, and that's it. Once I mixed that all together, I just kept it in its separate meal prep, and then as you can see, it's just a deconstructed taco right now. Put my sauces in to-go containers, and then when it comes time to actually eat them, I will just make the tacos. Super, super easy. You can put these in its own meal prep too as tacos. Then, moving on, I wanted to add a snack category, and something I actually really like to snack on is smoothies, especially because they're so easy when I meal prep them like this. It's such an underrated hack, but I'll put all of my ingredients into a blender. I chose to do tropical ingredients for this smoothie. I tried to mimic the Whole Foods tropical garden smoothie. And then what you want to do is actually blend it like normal and then just put them into ice cube trays and then at least freeze them for 5 to 6 hours. And then when you go to remake it, all you have to do is add almond milk or oat milk or whatever type of milk you want and put it back in the blender, and it tastes exactly the same. So it's so much easier than having to get out all of the frozen bags and think about what you want to add in. It literally makes it so easy, and I'll just put a bunch of nutrients in there like chia seeds, protein powder, cinnamon, coconut yogurt. Just try out different combos. Next up, we have the easiest meal prep possible, but one of my favorites again for meal prep because it heats up so good, and that is just bolognese. I really like to do turkey bolognese, so I used a pasta jar. It just made it so much easier, but if you wanted to actually make pasta sauce from scratch, it's also really easy. You just need tomato paste, crushed tomatoes, seasonings, and that's pretty much it. Some onion maybe. And I just put these in meal prep jars and then put them in the freezer, and we'll just heat them up for dinner throughout the week. We'll just put them in a pan and cook them like normal. And that was my last one. Done meal prepping. I wanted to share a few things that I've just kind of learned along the way with meal prepping, and I know that meal prepping can be very overwhelming, and honestly rarely anymore do I take like a full day to meal prep, but I have done that in the past. And honestly, the easiest thing that I find is one, planning before the grocery store like I said, and two, not being afraid to find the recipes that you guys really like and just continue to make those over and over. I feel like when you know a recipe, like it's super easy, like the waffles that I make, I just am running through it rather than if you made like 6 new recipes in the day and having to read the instructions. And maybe at the very beginning you'll have to do that, but as time goes on, I promise it'll get way easier. And then another tip I wanted to give is kind of having to do with during the week when you have all the meal prep. It's obviously very helpful, and 9 times out of 10 that's what I run to, but at the same time I also want to enjoy the food that I'm eating. And sometimes if it does come to nighttime and I just don't feel like what I prepped, try not to beat yourself up about that. I feel like it can get really hard with fitness when we set these goals or like a routine that we really want to stick to, because in our heads it makes so much sense, and maybe at the beginning of the week you feel really motivated with it, but towards the end of the week, as you listen to your body and just whatever feels right in the moment, it might be different than what you initially planned. And this is the same thing with me with workouts. Sometimes I will plan a high intensity workout and I wake up that morning and it's just not in the cards for me. 9 times out of 10, like I said, I will stick to the plan, but that 10% of the time where I want to be able to change it up if I feel the need to, it's very reassuring to know that it's okay. And like, again, I've said this many times on my podcast and on my videos, I aim to be healthier and feel really good, but at the end of the day, if I'm not the absolute healthiest version of myself this year or this month or this week, that's completely fine. And actually I had a friend on my podcast, her name is Michaela, and she said this. She was pretty much just saying that life is so hard and becoming your healthiest self is so hard, and sometimes like that word healthiest, like the very peak, could actually be unrealistic. So just being realistic with yourself as the week goes on, like what your goals are. I always say this, but a little bit is better than nothing. So if you eat half of the meal preps that you make and you have to freeze the rest of them, that's completely fine. Or there's many weeks where I want a meal prep and then it gets to Sunday and I have no energy for it, or I don't get to it, or a plan comes up and I choose that instead. That's completely fine. So just be kind to yourselves, and I just wanted to say that in a video that's kind of like overly productive because I don't do this every single day. With that being said though, having these recipes in the fridge really do make a huge difference, and I just really do love to meal prep when I can get around to it. So I'm always looking for new recipe ideas, and that's why I wanted to film this video, because I love watching these. So let me know if you guys did like this type of video, and maybe I can do one once a month and start a little series where even if you guys could share some of your favorite meal prep recipes and things that you actually enjoy heating up the next day, or if you ever see a TikTok and you want to DM it to me, yeah, maybe we could make a fun series out of this. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I love you guys, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.